Hello everybody watching out there on YouTube land, and welcome all to race number 20 of Season 10 NNSCRA Walmart Cup Series. I am Levi McIntyre, a.k.a. Thrash Maniac 99, the voice of NNSCRA Walmart Cup Series, here to welcome you to one of the biggest races of the season, the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This is going to be a big time race for these drivers because we're getting down to crunch time to see who will make the chase for the championship this season. But before we look at the top 10 or the lineup, let's look at how the points look coming into today's race. After last week's crazy fiasco at Kentucky, Tim Walsh took the points lead over, and he leads by 10 points over Michael Norman. Third is Matt Skoenberger, fourth Pichu London, fifth is Austin Mongold, sixth Steven Guerrero, 7th, Joshua Collard, 8th, Charles Sanford, 9th is Matt McIntyre, 10th, Carson Gunn. The rest of the top 20 is Jesse Setti, Anthony McCrory, Dylan Young, James Qualls, Dylan Thoreau, Kyle Matthews, Zach Rogers, who will continue to drop, Johnny Gardner, Sean Galligan, and David Rivera. Currently, right now, if the chase were to start, the two wildcard drivers would be Jesse Setti and Connor Morgan for being outside the top 10 with 2 wins, and they're both in the top 30 in points. So with that being said, let's look at the lineup. Starting in the last row is Anthony Ritchie and James Shelley. Top 10, Pichu London is on the pole for today. Starting next to him is Chase Oliver. Row 2 is James Qualls and Jesse Setti. Row 3 is Trent Dunham and Sean Henley. Row 4, Ryan Acosta, Connor Morgan. And then row 5, Preston Plord and Carson Gum. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get the command to fire engines for the Brickyard 400 at Indy.
Drivers, start your engines!
And there you have it. Excuse me. Cars rolling around for their one pace lap around the famed Brickyard. Pichu London in the past couple weeks has been kind of on a downward spiral as of late. He has fallen from the points lead down to 4th in points over the course of the last couple of races. But he does have a minor cushion ahead of the 11th spot in points. He is 51 points ahead of 11th, but that could all change here in the next several weeks, because the races that we got left until the chase we got here. Next week we return to Pocono, then we go to Watkins Glen, then back to Michigan, then to Bristol again, then Darlington, and then the return to Richmond, and that's when afterwards the chase will start after the LCQ event at Dragonette. So, like I said, here, as we're now in race 20 of the season, it's getting down to crunch time for these drivers to really start performing well in order to find themselves in the battle for the championship at the end of the season. Pace car in the pit road, which means it is time to go Indy racing, as it is boogity boogity boogity. Let's go racing. got a crash right as soon as we get into turn 1. Oh, it's going to be a big one. Multiple cars involved. Preston Plord, Dorian Facepuncher, Connor Morgan, and Chase Oliver were all involved in this one. Connor Morgan, who won last week at Kentucky. Chase Oliver, who's been on a big struggle streak over the last several weeks, and it continues here today. Dorian Facepuncher, who'd been kind of on a upward journey, now is cut short, and Preston Plord. Oh, and then we had another incident afterwards with Dougie Shears and John Cittadino. Oh, I was about to say, I hope Preston Plord doesn't plow into those guys. But the caution is out, and James Qualls is your race leader here at the Brickyard. So with that being said, let's take a look and see what brought the caution out for the first time today here at the Brickyard. Well, from the looks of it, it was leaning 3 wide with Chase Oliver, Sean Henley, and Dorian Facepuncher, and they come up into Connor Morgan, and then up ahead, whenever the 62 was in the grass, he came back up and collected the 68 and the 41 as a result. We'll take a look at how this starts one more time, and then we'll go to the 62. Well, we'll go to the 62 for this, but yeah, it looks like Chase Oliver comes down into Henley and Facepuncher, and that ends up turning the 81. The 57 forced the 62 into the grass, and then Preston Plord had a run, and the 62 comes back up the track, and that collected the 68 and the 41 as a result. And I have no idea how nobody else got involved in that whole mess. But then we had a second incident take place further up ahead. I'm trying to look for John Cittadino or Dougie Shears. Alright, here they are. Let's take a look at this, the 83. So, looks like everything's alright here. We'll skip ahead a little bit to kind of get the idea. Oh! Looked like Seth Cole got tight, and he comes up into his teammate Tim Walsh, and Walsh takes a pretty good hit into the outside wall, and then Shears gets into the wall, and then right there Cittadino just had no room to get through, and he ends up kind of like a scraping meet in between the 83 and the don't know what car that was that he was trying to get through in between. I think it might have been the 15. Let's see who that was. Yeah, he tried to get through, but he ends up getting into the 15. That sends him sideways into the 83 and spinning. So he pretty much just had nowhere to go. So that's a tough break for the 72, who just got back into the top 30 in points after last week at Kentucky. But with that said, let's take you to the restart here at the Brickyard. Well, as a result of that first caution, 3 cars are out of the race, and they include Connor Morgan, Chase Oliver, and Dorian Facepuncher. But some pit strategy going on. Some cars stayed out, some went into pit road, so this is going to be quite the interesting restart here. Jesse Setti is your race leader. Second is Sean Henley. Third is Carson Scott. Fourth is Nick Alton. Fifth, Matt Skoenberger. Sixth is Dylan Thoreau. Seventh, Joshua Collard. 8th, Anthony McCrory. 9th is Emmanuel Hartnett. 10th, or actually no, 9th is Charles Sanford, and 10th is Emmanuel Hartnett. 11th is Tanner Sullivan. 12th is Austin Mongold. 13th is Chris Washer. 14th, Sean Galligan. 15th, Jessica Sheldon. 16th is James Qualls. 17th, Trent Dunham. 18th, Pichu London. 19th, Ryan Acosta. 20th is Carson Gum. 21st is Kyle Matthews. 22nd, Jonathan Zorline. 23rd, Seth Cole. 24th is Steven Guerrero. 25th is William Duncan. 26th, Michael Norman. 27th, Dylan Young. 28th is Charles Jackson. 29th, Alex Ferranti. 30th, Johnny Gardner. 31st is Angel Navarro. 32nd is Matt McIntyre. 33rd is Anthony Ritchie. 34th, James Shelley. 35th, David Rivera. 36th, John Cittadino. 37th is Tim Walsh. 38th, Preston Plord. 39th, Dougie Shears. And that's all for the field. Green flag is back out with 18 laps to go here at the Brickyard. So we're down to 39 cars in the field after that caution. But I think now, as a result of now being single file, I think we might settle out to a nice long green flag run here. Battle for lead is on as here comes Sean Henley with a run to the inside of the 22. Sean Henley, a newcomer, a rookie to the series, trying to make his presence felt here in the Brickyard 400, trying to go for his first win of his career and of the season here in the Walmart Cup Series. Carson Scott now into second, but he's got company underneath of him. Nick Alton trying to make a run to him underneath the inside. So far, it looks like everything's pretty good for racing right now. Carson Scott now gets forced up high. Battle for second. Dylan Thoreau is going to go by Nick Alton for position. As meanwhile, Matt Skoenberger with a huge run to go by the 30 car. Excuse me. Oh, Jesse said he thought about making a bold move and dive into the inside, but didn't have enough speed to make that happen. To try to go underneath of Joshua Collard for the 5th spot. Meanwhile, it's kind of starting to settle out a little bit up here at the front. It's mostly single file throughout most of the top 10. Look at Anthony McCrory go. He's been kind of on a bit of a momentum streak as of late. He's moved up to 12th in points. He is only 12 points out of the top 10, so he definitely would love to get a good run here today in order to hopefully get him into the top 10 in points. And then if he can get in there, he hopes to stay in there in order to make the chase for the championship. Everything's mostly single file except around the back. You got a lot of double file racing going on. We might have a battle for second brewing between the 80 of Skoenberger and the 26 of Thoreau. And here comes the 80 of Matt Skoenberger, who got a good finish last week at Kentucky. Came through with a top 5 run. And that put him up to 3rd in points, and he's only 14 points out of the points lead. Whoa, contact! Skoenberger into the wall, and he's going to come back up with a vicious crash. Oh, and now McCrory goes upside down. Oh, and more hard hits, and now the 80's upside down. Oh, man, there's going to be a lot of crashing. Holy cow, David Rivera into the catch fence, and the 24 of Matt McIntyre goes barrel rolling almost into pit road. That crash was so intense it made me sneeze. But holy cow, that was brutal. Caution immediately out as a result. Jessica Sheldon was involved. Benjamin Miles, Preston Plord got more involved. Same with Dougie Shears. Michael Norman, 2nd in points, was involved. James Shelley was in there. Anthony Ritchie was in it. I think Dylan Young might have gotten a piece of it as well. I don't know, that could be glitch damage on the rear end. I'm not sure, but holy cow, that was vicious. Chris Washer manages to get on the pit road. Smart thinking for him. Tim Walsh, the points leader, was in there. William Duncan, Carson Gum, 10th in points. Trent Dunham was involved, and James Qualls was involved. So, holy cow, that was brutal. Looks like a majority of the cars in the field are going to pit, except for 2 cars. Steven Guerrero and Seth Cole, they're going to stay out under this caution. So that hands Steven Guerrero the lead. So with that said, let's go ahead and take you to a replay of what brought the caution out for the second time today here at the Brickyard. Well, right here, Nick Alton's going to get a big run underneath the 80 card, but his car gets really tight, and I thought they were going to save it, but right there, it sends the 80. The 80 takes a big hit into the inside wall, and then he's going to fly back across the racetrack and slam the outside wall a ton, and then right there, he gets a big hit from Anthony McCreary, which sends the 61 upside down. And then right there, a huge hit from Carson Gum that sends the 80 into a barrel roll for a moment. And then right there, you're going to see Matt McIntyre get sent to a barrel roll. And then some hard hits given for Tim Walsh and David Rivera that sent them either up in the air or into the catch fence or upside down. As a result, let me get to the 6 car and see how in the world he and the 15 got involved. I think this might be the best angle for this in the spectator, though the smoke is right in the way. Oh, he gets in the 19, but he gets hit from behind by Walsh, and he went up into the catch fence. But look at that 24 just barrel roll endlessly. Almost barrel rolls into pit road. But just holy cow, that was just... That's one of the craziest wrecks all season, and it all started from a one-car spin at first until he slid back across traffic. Let's look at how this starts again, this time from the spectator camera. Yeah, there you see the 30 gets a run, but he gets very tied up off the corner, gets into the 80, and the 80 gets the inside wall, and he's going to slide back up in front of traffic and hit the outside wall head on at 145 miles an hour. Then gets a big hit from the 61, which sent him up in the air and then into an upside down. Then Carson Gum slams him. Ton of cars just hit the wall very hard. Man, that was a hard hit right there for the 61 of McCreary again. And then the 24... ended up going for that barrel roll. Let's see how many times that car ended up going in that flip after the chaos. Let's see. He gets hit from behind and then went over top of the 70, and that's what's going to send it barrel rolling. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, he's going to go over again. 8. So he barrel rolls 8 times almost into pit road. Man, this... and David Rivera's car ended up sliding until it reaches the end of the pit wall right there. He hits the pit wall. And that's what's going to cause the car to finally stop sliding. So that had to have been a scary ride for the 6 to go sliding upside down for so long after he hit the catch fence. Just look at all the carnage. Pichu London even was involved. He actually hit the outside wall very hard in order to try to somehow find a way to get through, but it did not really work out in his favor all that well. I mean, just look at this carnage. Pretty much, that was probably about half the field involved in this crash. But, man, we've got to take a few onboards on this. On board with Anthony McCreary. There's the wreck starting, but watch this. Man, he just got brutalized in that wreck. On board with Carson Gum. Wow, that had to have been a sight to see up ahead. On board with Pichu London, who tries to get through but gets the outside wall. Watch this. Man. Finally on board with Matt Skoenberger, where the wreck starts and took the worst of it. It seemed like he got hit by almost every car in the field, it looked like. Well, as a result of that last caution, numerous cars retired out of the race after that caution. They include Preston Plord, Michael Norman, Anthony Ritchie, James Shelley, Alex Ferranti, Dougie Shears, Benjamin Miles, Jessica Sheldon, Tim Walsh, William Duncan, Carson Gum, James Qualls, Trent Dunham, Matt Skoenberger, Anthony McCrory, Chris Washer, Charles Jackson, Matt McIntyre, and David Rivera. So we are down to 20 cars left in the field. So looks like we're only going to get to go through the top 10 real quick. Steven Guerrero leads. Second is Seth Cole. Third is Charles Sanford. Fourth, Ryan Acosta. Fifth is Dylan Thoreau. Sixth, Kyle Matthews. Seventh, Jesse Setti. Eighth, Johnny Gardner. Ninth, Sean Henley. 10th is Tanner Sullivan. But the rest of the top 20, Dylan Young, Carson Scott, Austin Mongold, Sean Galligan, John Cittadino, Emmanuel Hardinet, Jonathan Zorline, Pichu London, Joshua Collard, and Nick Alton. Down to the final 10 laps here at the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. Steven Guerrero leads, but Seth Cole is wanting to get his second win this season so he can throw his name in the hat of being a potential wild card driver for the chase. Excuse me. And the battle for the lead continues as here comes the 52 with that run on the inside of the 8. But he doesn't quite get it because he had nobody to help him get by. And the caution is out again. Oh, a spin with Joshua Collard and Nick Alton. Oh, and Pichu London got more damage than he already had. So Pichu London took the brunt of this one. Caution is out for a third time today here at the Brickyard. Let's take a look and see what brought it out for the third time here at Indy. Well, this kind of starts similar to what happened last time. Joshua Collard comes up into Pichu London. That sends him spinning. And the 17 gets into the inside wall pretty good. Then slides back up into the 43 into 30. Taking them both out. So it's a questionable if whether or not all three of them are going to continue. I do think Pichu London's car is definitely out, but you never know. But let's go ahead and take you to the restart at the Brickyard. Well, after that last caution, Pichu London is officially out of the race, so we have 19 cars left in the field. And it's going to be 5 laps to go when we get to the line. Steven Guerrero is still your leader. Second, Seth Cole. Third, Charles Sanford. Fourth, Ryan Acosta. Fifth, Jesse Setti. Sixth is Dylan Thoreau. Seventh, Sean Henley. Eighth, Tanner Sullivan. Ninth, Carson Scott. 10th is Dylan Young. 11th is Austin Mongold. 12th, Sean Galligan. 13th, Johnny Gardner. 14th, Emmanuel Hartnett. 15th, John Cittadino. 16th, Jonathan Zorline. 17th is Joshua Collard. 18th, Nick Alton. 19th, Kyle Matthews. So we're down to 19 cars left in the field after all the chaos that has ensued here today at the Brickyard. Hopefully we can finish out caution-free, and we'll get a good, clean winner here today. Pace car in the pit road, and the green flag will be waving momentarily to signify 5 to go here at the Brickyard. I got a feeling if we get another caution, the race will probably be over, because I don't think we'd be able to get back to green in time if a caution were to come out. Maybe for a one-lap shootout, possibly, but I don't know. But Seth Cole is right back to the back bumper of the 8, but I'm looking around to keep an eye... Excuse me. To keep an eye on things. Seth Cole right now kind of drafting along with the 8 car of Steven Guerrero. And what I find interesting about the 8 car leading is that Steven Guerrero is the only Team Heel Motorsports car that has not gone to victory lane this season. But yeah, he's in the top 10 in points coming in, 6th in points, but he has not won a race yet. So if he were to win today, then all of Team Heel Motorsports would have won a race this season in their inaugural season as a team. And they will be back together next season, but with a little change up. The 68 will not be in their team. It will be the 88 a part of their team, and Chase Oliver will be in the number 88 car for Team Heel Motorsports next season for Marvel Studios Cup Series Season 11. But I don't know, here comes Seth Cole. He's got that run on the inside, but the 8 just carries more momentum off the high lane, and the 8 hangs on, but now that brings 2 cars up here to the battle. Jesse Setti and Dylan Thoreau. Jesse Setti trying to go for win number 3. Dylan Thoreau trying to go for win number 1 this season. But a good thing for Steven Guerrero is that with those guys battling, that manages to help him pull away a little bit from everybody. But it ain't over till it's over. We're actually more than 2 laps left here in the race. Jesse said he's trying to get a run on the 8, but it's just not working just yet. Looking around, it's pretty much single file throughout the whole field. 2 laps to go for Steven Guerrero here at the Brickyard. Because all 3 of his teammates are out of the race, so he's Team Heel Motorsports' last hope to win here at this track. Dylan Thoreau now into second. Seth Cole trying to get a run on the inside of him, but not quick enough. He slides in line. But things are getting pretty dicey here in the final closing laps of the day. It's going to be 3 wide for second. Thoreau, Seth Cole, Jesse Setti, and we almost had a wreck with Carson Scott and Charles Sanford. White flag is out pretty much. No matter what happens, they're racing back. Steven Guerrero's got a huge lead over the 26 as they continue to battle instead of working together to try to get a draft up to the 8 car in order to make a move. Seth Cole trying to make something work. Whoa, they almost wrecked right there. As we're getting ready to come off of turn 4 for the final time today. First checkered flag of his career and of the season. Steven Guerrero wins the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. Team Heel Motorsports victories have been completed. What a job for that 8 team. Came in here as the only driver of Team Heel Motorsports to have not gone to victory lane. Well, today he finally is in that club. What a victory for that car. But let's look at the rest of the results. Dylan Thoreau comes out with a great finish in the 2nd position. Great run for Jesse Setti in 3rd. That could put her back up into the top 10 in points. Seth Cole with a solid finish in the 4th spot. And Sean Henley with a solid finish in 5th. Great run for Austin Mongold in the 6th position. Carson Scott with a solid finish in 7th. Great run for Charles Sanford in 8th. Solid run for Tanner Sullivan in 9th. And Emmanuel Hartnett with a great run in 10th. Rest of the cars that finished were Sean Galligan, Ryan Acosta, Dylan Young, John Cittadino, Jonathan Zorline, Johnny Gardner, Kyle Matthews, Nick Alton, and Joshua Collard. Everybody else was out of the race after all the chaos that happened. Pichu London, Preston Plord, Michael Norman, Anthony Ritchie, James Shelley, Alex Ferranti, Dougie Shears, Benjamin Miles, Jessica Shelton, Tim Walsh, William Duncan, Carson Gum, James Qualls, Trent Dunham, Matt Skoenberger, Anthony McCrory, Chris Washer, Charles Jackson, Matt McIntyre, David Rivera, Connor Morgan, Chase Oliver, and Dorian Facepuncher. Well, that does it for our coverage here today, here at Indianapolis, as to in what was a crazy race to say the least. Next week, we head to Pocono Raceway for the Pennsylvania 400, as we get closer and closer to the chase. But until then, here are your results. Rookie points and regular points heading into Pocono. And this is Levi McIntyre.